Okay, this unit, polygons, starting shapes and designs. We're going to learn about geometric figures called polygons. All right, as this is our first video in our unit, we're going to talk a little bit about how these videos go and what kind of process you need to follow while taking notes. So first off, let's make sure you got your notebook open. Make sure you got something to write with. You're on a fresh page in your notebook. And you're going to title it Polygons. If you'd also like to put in a subtitle, you could put in SAD 1.1. SAD means S for shapes and designs. So the A is for and, the D is for designs. Shapes and designs 1.1, that's our lesson, which is about polygons and the family of polygons. Now, as we take notes while watching a video, it will be very important that you feel free to pause the video at any time and finish writing down your notes. I'm not going to go slow enough many times for you to write all of the notes during the video, so it'll be very important that you pause it so that you can get all your notes down. That's more important than finishing up the video. Because you're watching a video, you can push pause, play as many times as you need throughout the duration of this video to make sure you get all of the notes down. When you finish your notes, you're going to bring them back up to me and show me what you've got. I'm going to be looking for some very specific things. You'll know you've got everything in your notes if you write down everything that I write down in the video. So if you do what I do in your notes, you'll be good. But sometimes you will need to pause the video to make sure you get it all written down. With that, let's get started, and I'll give you plenty of cues about when to pause the video and get your notes down. All right, so let's first start talking about what is a polygon. And we're going to use a really simple definition, easy for you to write. So in your notes, you're going to write down two words, polygon and non-polygon, as your first entry into your notes. And I'm going to write a definition for you here for polygon. It's a figure. Sometimes we use geometric figure, but we're just going to say a figure with connected straight lines. Now, if you need to pause to finish writing the rest of that down, please do so. And then we're going to write a non-polygon. We'll use a different color. And we're going to say a figure that didn't come out with a U very good. A figure without connected straight lines. We're going to talk more about definitions and polygons a little bit later in this unit together as a class. But for now, make sure you get both of those written down as your definition of polygon and non-polygon. Again, pause the video and write them down if you need more time. Okay, over on the right-hand side, you're going to see some examples of these are polygons. These are not polygons. And the most obvious things I hope you see in this video is, one, you see curved lines. They're not straight, so it's not a polygon. A circle is not a polygon. And this one, you see it's not connected. And here's another example right here. It's not connected. So every line, or sometimes we say the side, has to be connected. All right, enough with that. Let's move on. Let's talk about the different kinds of polygons. At this point, you're going to need that shape bag, a bag of shapes, that you get from the teacher. If you haven't gotten it, make sure you go get it now. Pause the video and go get that bag of shapes. And you're going to pour out that bag of shapes. And when you do, you're going to see the shapes have letters on them right here in the middle. And they're not in a different color, so they're kind of hard to see. You might have to hold it up to the light or the window to be able to see the letters and the numbers on each of the vertices or corners of the shape. Okay. Now, while you got that bag of shapes, what we're going to do is first define these next three words. So now you're going to have 3 more entries into your notes. Here's what you're going to write down. I'm going to use all of the same color for all of these. Blue. Triangle. Guess what a triangle is? It's a polygon. So we say polygon with 3 sides. And a quadrilateral is a polygon with 4 sides. And a regular polygon with all sides equal length. Pause the video if you need to get those definitions written down. Okay, now what I want you to do is in a second, I want you to pause the video and go to page 10 in your book. And I want you to do part A, number 1 and 2. 1 and, that's an ampersand, 2. Do parts 1 and 2 in your book on page 10, and then come back to the video. Okay, welcome back. You did parts 1 and 2 in your book on page 10, parts 1 and 2 of A, part A, number 1 and 2. You had to describe, first you had to sort all the shapes into different groups that have one or more properties in common. Probably what you did is you put all the triangles together and all the quadrilaterals together and all the pentagons together, and you might have put them by the number of sides or angles that they have, which was a really good idea. If you did it a different way, that's okay too. But we're going to first focus on triangles. And our first question we're going to say is, how are the triangles different from each other? Well, you should have seen a triangle right here in A, and there's a triangle right here in P, and a triangle right here in T. And you should have noticed those 3 triangles obviously are different sizes, but they have different angle measures. Like T right down here has a right angle or a 90-degree angle, but P and A don't. And then you should have also noticed maybe A is like a regular polygon. All the sides are the same length. P looks close, but it looks like these 2 sides are the same and the others are not. Okay, so there's some descriptions about why the triangles are different from each other. And this is just to help us see some of the different properties of different polygons, because our goal here is to learn how to identify polygons by the number of sides. And then once we see the number of sides, how can we differentiate, or how do we see that some triangles or different polygons are different from another? The fourth one, quadrilaterals. Did you know there are 7 quadrilaterals in here? 7 different kinds of quadrilaterals. Can you name all 7? If you want, stop the video and write down all 7 of the quadrilateral names that you can think of. If you get to 7, good job. If not, get as many as you can. And when you come back, I'll give you the answers. Okay, welcome back. There are 7 quadrilaterals. I'm going to show you all of them. First, we have a rectangle. And the rectangle is pretty easy to see, 4 sides, all 90-degree angles. And then there's the square. And there's a square in this group too, right there. Woohoo! And then there's the parallelogram. This is a fancy word, parallelogram. Did you find that one? Parallelogram? Parallelogram looks like N. Opposite sides are parallel. Now we got 4 more to go. Number 4 is a rhombus. Whoops. Let me erase that. Let's do trapezoid instead. Because a trapezoid and a parallelogram are related similarly, because a trapezoid, like this one right here, has 2 sides parallel, bottom and the top, where a parallelogram has all opposite sides parallel. Trapezoid only has 1 pair of opposite sides parallel, so it's similar. Now let's talk about the rhombus. A rhombus is like a square, but without 90-degree angles. And there's one right here. I think that looks like a K. K is a rhombus. Like a square, all sides are the same length, but the angles are not 90 degrees. And then we have a kite. And a kite, not shown in any of your shapes, is a quadrilateral where two sides are the same length and another pair of sides are the same length, but they're not all four equal and no 90-degree angles. I could draw a shape it would look like this. You've seen kites before, hopefully. So this pair of sides here are the same length and these two sides are the same length, but obviously these are not. And that's what makes a kite. All right, erase that. All right, number 7, the last one, is just what we call a quadrilateral. And a quadrilateral is any four-sided shape that's not one of these first 6. An example in our group here would be Q, right here. Doesn't have opposite sides, no 90-degree angles, no sides that are quite the same length, so it doesn't fit in any of the first 6, so we just call it a quadrilateral. Did you get all 7? How close did you get? If you got at least 3, that's fantastic. Any more than 3, you're doing great, great, great. All right, if you need time, stop the video, watch, and get all 7 of those written down. All right, your last step in this video is to record this table in your notes. Copy it down. Okay, you'll need to pause the video to do that. But let's just make sure you've seen all these before, right? You have a triangle, a quadrilateral, a pentagon, a hexagon, a heptagon, an octagon, nonagon, decagon, and a dodecagon. We want to get these in our notes so we have that as reference. So if we ever have to remember the names of these multiple-sided polygons, we can recall them. All right, that's it. Now you've learned how to identify polygons. This table will help you identify polygons by the number of sides. And we've learned about some of their properties in triangles and quadrilaterals. The rest of our unit's going to continue to learn and discover some more properties, especially angle relationships. All right, until then, make sure you get all your notes done. And when you're done taking all of your notes, you'll go up and you'll see Mr. Simpson and you'll show him your notes and he's going to give you a stamp. And that concludes step 1. All right, here we go.